Page 1. Walk the dog, but take vague notes so you remember. Here is what I'm thinking, but you have...
On September 14th, 2023, investigators opened a book taken from a jail cell in Summit County, Utah. Inside it were 6 handwritten pages. The woman who wrote them was awaiting trial for the murder of her husband. The pages were not a letter to a friend. They were not a diary. They were a set of instructions. Within 4 months of her arrest, prosecutors would tell a jury Kouri Richins had written out what her own brother was supposed to say about the man she was accused of killing.
Is this an accurate depiction of a 6-page letter to Lisa Darden written on either September the 12th or 13th, 2023, that investigators recovered on September the 14th, 2023, from a book that was among Kouri Richins' personal possessions?
To understand the letter, it helps to know where its author was sitting when she wrote it. Eric Richins was 39 years old. He was a father of 3 boys, and he co-owned a stone masonry business in Kamas, Utah.
Basically, she said went to bed at 9:30. She slept with the kids because then she goes to bed. When she went to bed, at around 3 o'clock, moved into her bed. He was cold and heavy. He has Lyme disease. He got an allergy shot yesterday.
On the night of March 4th, 2022, he was found unresponsive in the bedroom of his own home. A toxicology report would find fentanyl in his blood, several times a lethal amount.
Okay.
All right, we're taking a look at the body cam video. The night Eric Richins died, when responders came there, the cameras are rolling like they normally are, and we're getting to see and hear the defendant, the accused murderer, Kouri Richins. Still with us, behavioral social scientist, Dr. Abby Morono. All right, Dr. Abby, I want to take a look here at a discussion by Kouri about several things, including some pain pills that Eric had taken in the past.
When you discovered him, was he on the bed? Yes.
He was just laying on his side like normal.
Okay.
I just thought he was cold. It was cold in there, so I put the blanket on him.
Yeah.
His wife told investigators she had made him a drink that night, a Moscow Mule. She said she had then gone to sleep in their youngest son's room and found him cold in the morning. More than a year after his death, Kouri Richins was arrested and charged with his murder. A year after his death, she had published a children's book about grief. That book is a different story, and this channel has told it. This one begins where that one ends, in a cell, with a pen. On September 14th, 2023, officers carried out a search of Kouri Richins' personal property inside the jail. Among her possessions was a book. Folded inside it were 6 pages, written by hand, dated by investigators to either the 12th or the 13th of September. They were addressed to her mother, Lisa Darden. At trial, the pages were admitted into evidence as State's Exhibit 286R. The lead detective was asked to read them aloud from the top.
This is that letter. It has redactions, but yes, this is that letter.
Your Honor, the state moves to admit and publish 2-86R.
Just renew the previous objections the court's already ruled upon.
Okay. 2-86R is admitted and published.
Detective O'Driscoll, can you please start starting at the top where it says page 1. Read this letter aloud.
Page 1. Walk the dog, but take vague notes so you remember. Here is what I'm thinking, but you have to talk to Ronnie. He would probably have to testify to this, but it's super short, not a lot to it. He will need to tell Sky at the meeting next week. Upon information and belief, just like they say, a year prior to Eric's death, Ronnie was over watching football one Sunday, and Eric and Ronnie were chatting.
The first line of the letter is the line this case would be named after. Ronnie Darden is her brother. The letter does not ask him what he remembers. It tells him what he saw. A Sunday, a year before Eric's death. Football on the television. A conversation about Eric's trips to Mexico. And a detail the letter is careful to include.
About Eric's Mexico trips. Eric told Ronnie he gets pain pills and fentanyl from Mexico from the workers at the ranch. Not to tell me because I would get mad, because I always said he just gets high every night and won't help take care of the kids. There are pictures in my phone of Eric passed out on the floor.
An allergy pill bottle in a work truck. The letter also states that Ronnie should have text messages. It does not say what they say. It says he should have them. Every element of the story points in the same direction. That the fentanyl in Eric Richins' body was fentanyl he had brought home himself.
Ronnie should have texts from Eric talking about getting high as well. Eric told Ronnie he keeps them in an allergy pill bottle in his work truck, so I wouldn't find them. Ronnie never told me about the conversation. Eric finally told me and asked if...
I'm sorry if I didn't do it correctly. I was not trying to skip any step. You ruled that I had opened the door. You allowed him to elicit what would typically be hearsay evidence because I had opened the door. Now it's in. Now this witness has sat on the stand. No one's ever told him that Eric used illicit drugs, and that is not true.
Illicit street drugs. Please be precise.
That's what these are. He's claiming...
Well, we don't know one way or the other. Would you like an opportunity to voir dire Cody Wright about that, consistent with the court's motion in limine ruling from January?
I'm happy to voir dire him if it helps the court with your ruling. It is my position that at this point, I'm entitled to impeach him for making a statement in response to the state, elicited by the state, that no one's ever told him Eric used illicit street drugs. Here I have testimony that is contrary to that. I have a right to impeach him on that. I'll voir dire him on whatever you want, but...
Partway down the second page, the letter does something unusual. The woman writing it stops referring to herself as I.
Eric would put his drugs in Kouri's bag at the airlines right before they boarded. That way, if they were caught, Kouri got in trouble, not him. Once they got to wherever they were going, Eric would pull the drugs out of her bag and it would cause a huge fight. She was pissed he would risk her going to jail for his drug use. He just would laugh about it. Eric couldn't ruin his image that he had drug issues, so he would do whatever he had to. Kouri has never done any type of pills, didn't like them.
Kouri has never done any type of pills. The sentence is written by Kouri Richins about Kouri Richins in the voice of someone else. It is written the way a witness would say it on a stand.
State moves to admit and publish 2-66R.
We renew all our previous objections that have been ruled on by the court already, Your Honor.
Understood. 2-66R is admitted and published.
Reword this however he needs to make the point. Just include it all. The connection has to be made with Mexico and drugs. Ronnie will.
The letter names a deadline and a destination. Her brother is to tell Sky at the meeting next week. Sky Lazaro was, at that time, Kouri Richins' own defense attorney. And the closing instruction is not about what happened. It is about how to tell it. Rewrite this however he needs to make the point. Just include it all.
Of all this so you remember before you walk the dog.
Detective, does Sky in that letter refer to Sky Lazaro, Kouri Richins' former defense counsel?
Yes.
No further questions, Your Honor.
The letter was not the only thing that left that jail. Every call from inside it is recorded, and the jury heard one of them.
Not only did he do it first, he actually took action on it illegally.
Yes. All I did was, what the hell am I supposed to do? That was literally the conversation.
Yeah. Yep. So,
It's my right to
that
do.
person's probably going to be... Right.
And
So that
it's,
person's probably going to be brought in,
which is perfect, because you know what I told that person?
which is... Well,
I don't want to fill out the packet. I don't want absolutely anything. I want to walk away clean and free. I don't want anything. And she kept advising me, no, that's not how this works. You have to fill this out about da-da-da-da. And I said, I don't want to. I don't want any of it.
yep.
That is what I told that lady. I said, I just want these done. And
Yeah,
she argued
perfect.
with me. Forever. I took the packet, I threw it away.
The call is not a confession. It is two people discussing what an attorney might be able to hold against her. On cross-examination, the defense asked the detective a question the prosecution had not.
Just last little thing on the walk the dog letter, and then I swear I'll quit beating a dead horse. But the walk the dog letter, to your knowledge, was the walk the dog letter ever delivered to Kouri's mom, to her brother, to the lawyer, to anybody?
I don't believe so, not to my knowledge.
Okay, thank you.
The letter never left the cell. Her mother never received it. Her brother never received it. Her attorney never received it. Ronnie Darden did not testify to the story written for him because the story never reached him. The jury was left with 6 pages that were written and never sent.
Claiming there was reasonable doubt.
So it was so amazing to see the difference opinions people had and different perspective, and that happened often with respect to the different pieces of evidence and the witnesses, but we all led to the same conclusion that she was guilty.
And we'll have more of that interview coming up on Good Morning America this morning. Richins now faces 25 years to life in prison for aggravated murder. She also faces 1 to 15 years for fraudulent insurance claim charges and up to 5 years for forgery. Her sentencing is set to go down here at the Summit County Courthouse. Later, though, not until May 13th. Reporting live in Park City, Kaylee Ann, ABC4 News.
Kaylee, thank you. And now that the trial is over, many are focusing on honoring the victim, Eric Richins. ABC4's Jake White visited.
Then she wrote a children's book about grief, went on a local TV show to talk about it, to talk about how she's helping her children move through it with the book. And you've got to imagine what it's like to be a juror on this trial. I spoke to Christy Halverson. Here's what she told me.
Probably the most impactful testimony for me was the undercover police officer, which is really hard because most people didn't get to see his testimony. They shut off the court TV as soon as they kind of connected the fact that he's still working undercover.
There was more in the letter than the jury was shown. At the sentencing hearing, a member of Eric Richins' family told the court what was in the pages that had been kept from them.
my daughters. Her infamous walk the dog letter, the part the jury did not hear, confirms her desire to harm me. In it, she talks at length about her.
Here is what we think. A letter that was never sent is easy to dismiss. No one read it. No one testified to it. Nothing in this trial turned on it. But it was not written on the night he died. It was written 4 months after her arrest. With a lawyer, with time to think. And it was not a plea, and it was not a memory. It was a script. With a part written for her own brother, and a line about herself written in somebody else's voice.
Visualize it, and it's, you know, connection, continuity, and care. And it's, you know, making sure connection is the one, major one, and making sure that their spirit is always alive in your home, you know, and memories are always brought up, and doing things that your loved ones love to do, whether it's riding bikes or their favorite dinner, and just constantly, you know, talking about them. And
Kouri, do you mention at dinner, here's Dad, or Dad would like this meal, or Dad would...
By then, Kouri Richins was a published author, a children's book about grief, with her name on the cover. A detective testified that investigators found text messages on her phone with a book writer about writing that book for her. Asked in court whether that person was a ghostwriter, he answered yes. So consider the two documents together. On the book, her name sits over somebody else's words. In this letter, her words were meant to come out of somebody else's mouth. We think that is the most revealing thing in this case, not what happened that night, what she was still doing a year later. But a letter that was never delivered is also a letter that reached no one. Her attorney never saw it. Her brother never spoke a word of it in court. So, we will put it to you. Was this a woman covering her tracks? Or a storyteller doing the one thing she knew how to do? Tell us what you think. Kouri Richins was convicted on 5 counts. Forgery, 2 counts of insurance fraud, attempted aggravated murder, and aggravated murder. The court ordered the sentences to run consecutively and sentenced her to life in prison without the possibility of parole. She was sentenced on what would have been Eric Richins' 44th birthday.
My sentence is you to life without parole. You have the right to an appeal. You must file a notice of appeal within 30 days. You have the right to be represented by counsel on appeal.